Good afternoon and welcome back to another ironic introduction to another video. Today I'm going to be doing my first impressions on Stryfe. Stryfe, the new champion for MCOC in January. And the first thing I want to say is I do think this guy's got a lot of good potential. Definitely has the damage potential in the long run. Might even be a solid option for Abyss, although I don't think he's going to be an Aegon substitute. And while we're talking about Aegon, he is not a mutant Aegon. And I don't like that comparison. He is Stryfe. And again, he's got some solid utility that I really like. He's got really good potential for high damage ramp up, but he's not Aegon. He doesn't provide the same utility as Aegon, and that comparison falls really flat, really fast. So if you're looking at Stryfe and you're reading into the whole mutant Aegon bit, just skip over that. Because there is a lot of value here and there's a lot of really good potential even for Abyss of Legends. Just know that it's for a different reason and in a different way. Similar way, just different. Now, the first thing is that Stryfe carries over something called, let me scroll down and find it, persistent telepathic charges. Now, in fight, he can get telepathic charges. These are not persistent, but either with his SP3 or by winning the fight, he can carry over persistent telepathic charges up to a max of 100 plus the 20 you can get in each fight. That comes out to a max of 120, and for each telepathic charge you're getting 69 noise 0.72 attack rating, comes out to a total of 8,366 additional attack rating when you've got him fully ramped up. That is a solid amount of attack rating just to get as a bonus on a 5-star. Given in mind with the flat attack, that's 2,324. We're talking about 10.5k mediums just on hit, just 4 damage. That should be roughly it, plus or minus, resistances, etc. So that's a pretty good amount of damage. So he definitely has the scale to be good for Abyss of Legends. Let's talk about the utility. So he's got good utility as well. The first being that on medium heavies and special 2 attacks, they cannot be evaded. So if you only use mediums and heavies, he is an anti-evade champion. That's actually not bad, and that's actually consistent with other champions who have similar mechanics or similar values, like, say, Havoc, where double medium Havoc doesn't take Thorns damage from Korg. Yes, you lose a lot of hits by doing double medium, but it provides you that extra utility. It's not something you're using all the time, so it's actually really solid. And honestly, in some situations, you can just parry heavy or heavy counter and have deal with evades or not have to deal with them. That's a lot of really good utility just off the bat. Not to mention, when you're using mediums, heavies, and special 2 attacks, it reduces the potency of incoming passive direct damage by 100%. That's right, it's also anti-thorns. So right off the bat, this is really solid. Unfortunately, it's another mutant with anti-thorns and anti-evade, which we kind of already have a lot of. This is still really good flat utility off the bat. Then he gains that extra damage, of course. And then he also has the ability to go invisible or make missing. And this is the big one. This is the selling point that Kabam is putting out there for Abyss of Legends. And it's that while striking into an opponent or into their block while they are unstoppable, it consumes 2 telepathic charges to remove the effect and inflict a passive stun for 1.2 seconds. This has an 8-second cooldown. So first off, it's a passive stun, which is amazing. Now, the Grandmaster in Abyss of Legends has a high amount of tenacity. Passive stun means that you get this opening no matter what, which is awesome, especially since towards the end he goes unstoppable, like at the worst moments, very frequently. So it's going to be very useful for the end there. But also, this is like a pseudo slow effect. Now, what's going to be important here on the striking an opponent is the priority. Now, priority in attacking is something like Cap Infinity War, where when he attacks into an unstoppable opponent, he can remove the unstoppable if he has a kinetic charge, and Cap Infinity War gets the priority. So if you dash into an opponent who is unstoppable and they dash at the same time and you get the intercept, you don't get hit. The unstoppable is removed as you're hitting them, and Cap Infinity War allows you to continue comboing. Now, if this works the same way, where you can dash into an unstoppable opponent, get the priority, get the stun, and pummel into them without getting hit, then this is amazing. And because they're advertising it as for the Grandmaster, I'm going to guess that's the way it works. So that's some really solid utility. There are a lot of situations there this is very useful. 8 seconds is not the shortest cooldown. 6 seconds would have been nicer. I think 4 seconds is too short, but 6 seconds would have been nicer. But 8 seconds is low enough that you could wait. You could stall out in order to get there. It's a really solid amount. Beyond that, he has access to like concussions and other things and high damage potentials and stuff, but nothing that I'm like super stoked about or really pointing out as something super stellar. So overall, I'm going to say guy's got a lot of potential. I don't think he's going to necessarily replace Aegon for Abyss of Legends, but he's a really good alternative option, especially for a completion run, or maybe even in the long run if we're talking about like as a secondary option as well, especially for once you get to the Grandmaster. He might be really good there. I just noticed some issues if we're talking about using him for the Grandmaster, and that's that the Grandmaster has essentially Safeguard, and one of the things that makes Aegon so good against the Grandmaster is his bleed on the SP2. It gives you a lot of really good damage, and I just don't see that potential here. Like, it's good. It's just not like as good. I know he has access to shocks like on his SP1 and stuff, but the damage there isn't as great. The only potential there, or the saving grace there potentially, is if this passive shock scales with his damage. Now, it doesn't say it doesn't, so it might, and that might end up making Stryfe like the best answer for the Grandmaster, but I'm going to have to wait and see. Usually, or a lot of the times, this ends up not scaling, and so I don't want to say it does and then be wrong. So potential, just kind of like a question mark there. Would have been nice to have clarity. Overall, really good. I think the damage numbers are going to be great. The utility is a little niche, but definitely solid when we're talking about Unstoppable. But just the base utility of the Psionic Blast with the Anti-Thorns, Medium Heavy, Special 2 attacks, etc., and Anti-Evade is amazing. I think Stryfe is going to be a good champion. I think just like off the gate, you know, maybe for his first fight, maybe even the second fight, the damage is going to feel like kind of meh. So he might not be like the most common used answer for things like Book 2 or future content with high dose of health. But when we're talking about peak content or pinnacle content like Abyss of Legends, sorry, that's my rice cooker, I think he's going to be really solid because you're able to carry that combo over, that charge, through Special 3. That's really accessible, even more so than Aegon's, I feel. As always, though, let me know what you think. Let me know if I'm missing something. This is just kind of like a quick run over. But as always, I hope you enjoyed, and I'll talk to y'all later. Peace.